Hey, how's it going, everyone? So today I'm going to be making a Crunchwrap Supreme, but no, not the typical one that you find from Taco Bell. No, I'm going to be taking that and flipping it on its head. Want to see how I do it? Stay tuned.
Okay, let's start off with our beef. I have some boneless short rib, and actually, this is left over from when I did my short rib chili a couple weeks ago. I ended up buying more than I should have, but anyway, I'm just putting this to good use. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our short rib and I'm just going to thinly slice it. Okay, so as you've seen, we've thinly sliced our short rib, and to that, we're going to add our marinade ingredients. So, we're going to go with about a tablespoon and a half of avocado oil. And along with the following, we go with a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of ground oregano, half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and lastly a tablespoon and a half of soy sauce. All we're going to do now is get in there and mix everything together. Make sure it's make sure the meat is fully coated in that marinade.
All right, so we've got our steak, and we're just going to let it sit in the fridge and marinate for about an hour. Of course, if you have more time, longer is obviously better. But yeah, we're just going to leave this in the fridge for an hour and come back to it.
Okay, so now we're going to turn our attention to our Mexican rice. To a pot, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil over medium heat. And to that, we're going to add a diced onion, diced it earlier. Next thing we're going to do is add some garlic. And that's just going to cook for a minute. Next thing we're going to do is add our rice. I'm using a cup. Give that a stir. And we're just going to toast the rice. Alright, so to our rice, we're now going to add a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of Chipotle chili powder, and some salt and pepper. Give that a mix. And the next thing we're going to do is add a 15-ounce can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. Followed by 1.5 cups of chicken broth. And we're just going to cover and let that simmer until all the liquids soak into the rice.
All right, next up, we got some shrimp. I got about a half pound here, and we're going to bread them and then throw them in our air fryer. It's going to be awesome.
All right, so we have our breading station set up for our shrimp. We've got some flour, which I've seasoned with salt and pepper, 2 beaten eggs, and some panko breadcrumbs. And all we're gonna do is go take our shrimp, flour, egg wash, and panko. And as they say, rinse and repeat with the rest of them. Alright, we have our shrimp all breaded and ready to go into the air fryer. Okay, we're checking back with our rice. I've turned off the heat because it's pretty much cooked. Just gonna give it a quick taste. That's perfect. God, that's really great. I'm also cooking up some refried beans. Yes, you can make your own, but I got a lot going on as it is, so yeah. Now, the time's come to add our marinated beef. Alright, so now we're gonna just take our meat off the skillet and set it aside. Alright, so we have every single component ready. We have our Mexican rice, we have our beef, we have our shrimp, and we have our refried beans. Let's get to assembling. Alright, it's time to assemble our Crunchwrap Supreme, our Surf and Turf Crunchwrap Supreme, that is. So I have a tortilla. I warmed it up a bit to make it a little bit pliable. To that I'm going to add a tostada. To that are refried beans. Next, we're going to add our rice. And then followed by some cheese. I'm using mozzarella, but feel free to use whatever cheese you want. You could use pepper jack. I had mozzarella on hand, so that's why I'm using it. Next, we're going to add our beef. Then we're going to add our air-fried shrimp. Finally, there's more cheese. And now let's fold this thing up. Just gonna be really careful. I'm gonna give it some olive oil. Just brush that over. We'll get it over the cast iron to give it one final touch. Okay, we have got our cast iron skillet heated up. Let's just be careful and cook on the first side, and we'll flip and finish off on the other side. Flipped over, get the other side some love. All right, let's cut it up. And there we have it. Our Crunchwrap Supreme, our Surf and Turf Crunchwrap Supreme, I might add. Alright, so that is how I improve upon Taco Bell's Crunchwrap Supreme. I hope you give it a try. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.